All right, we are live once again. How's it going, everybody? Here's Jack the DARPA Yoshi back in action. So, in case if y'all wondering about the autism Q&A, well, today is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, and I have a very special guest with me, a dear friend of mine and a long channel supporter. Here's Lily Young.
Hello, everyone.
How's it
And I'm
going?
trying to. I'm
Oh,
doing well. How are you, Jack?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. All right, so
Oh,
in case
hello,
if you did,
Jack. There we go.
yep. All right, would you mind telling us a little about yourself, Lily, in case if anyone's not familiar with you?
Alrighty. So I'm currently a junior in college, and I live in eastern Nebraska, and I will be pursuing my bachelor's in accounting. I have my associates already, and currently part time in school, planning on going back full time. And I'm also on the autism spectrum, diagnosed with Asperger's at age 5, and I've been a loving family and stuff, and I was very happy a few years ago to find Jack's channel, especially when he was live streaming every day for Autism Awareness Month a couple years ago, and yeah.
Yep,
So,
and same with Lily. I was diagnosed with Asperger's at the age of 5 as well, and yeah, I would say it's been quite a journey. I must say now.
oh yeah, me too.
And on a side note, I apologize. We were gonna do the face cam, but I was having trouble with mine, so it just went with the audio today. So
Yeah.
and just say well, before I mention the disclaimer, welcome Brian, Jomir, Gypsy. How are y'all doing today or tonight, wherever you're watching from?
Yep.
And that's pretty cool, Jomir. It's pretty cool. Okay,
Yep. This
so
channel obviously draws in a lot of autistic people,
right.
which is not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so now for the
Yeah.
disclaimer, we let's see. The disclaimer is this. Let's see. Autism is not a disease and it's not contagious. Just want to get
Nope.
that out of the way right now.
Oh,
And it's something that's neurological. You know that. But anyway, that's all I can say about the disclaimer.
yep.
The key
Yeah.
thing is autism is not a disease. It's not contagious.
Nope. And also neurological means that it's within your brain, in your nervous system, that goes throughout your body. So yeah.
Yep, that is right.
Yep,
Okay.
you're right, Brian. It's a condition.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right, so ready for the questions, Lily?
Yes.
All right, now if there's a question that you prefer me to answer, I can do that, and I'll do the best I can to answer them.
Oh, definitely. And we could both take turns answering, like some of them, especially.
Yep,
And also, you have your brother's also autistic, so
yeah. My younger brother is
yeah.
yes. He's
Oh,
he's not. I'm high functioning autism, and
mhm.
my brother is a lower level of autism, but
Yeah.
he's amazing. You know, yeah, he's really amazing in regards to his art and also
Mhm.
his interest in Disney and superheroes. And he's a really sweet guy, just like me.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. And yeah, and everyone. Good thing to note. for the chat is everyone with autism is different, and well, there may be a lot of symptoms that people overlap with. There's also a lot of differences between people with autism. So, and I've heard the saying that when you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, and I think that's pretty true.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
Caleb. Welcome to the stream. How are you tonight?
absolutely, Brian.
All right. So here comes question number one. This one's from Spartakurt. I'm gonna quote this. A family member of mine was recently diagnosed with autism. My question is, how has your awareness of your autism helped or hindered you? Also, what advice would you give to someone who recently learned of their autism?
Okay, so um, I mean, no, there are a lot of adults that are diagnosed with autism later in life, and I was fortunate and was able to get diagnosed as a child, but obviously not everyone's as fortunate, especially when you're higher functioning. So you tend to hide your autism more to fit in with other people, and so my my parents have always had me be aware of my autism since I was diagnosed so young, and so it's helped. It's helped me a lot in my life to well, with school I got all the resources. A lot of different resources, and in the U.S. Autistic individuals may be put on a IEP or an individual education plan if they are in public school, and so I've always had access to extra supports and resource teachers and other accommodations. Um, and then if you ever go to college in the U.S., you can also advocate for accommodations through the college's resource office if they have one. And I mean, if you're just diagnosed recently, I think figuring out like what things you need to do to make sure you're functioning relatively well in life and to maintain what you're already doing is. If you need to take a break, that is totally fine. And especially if you're like financially stable enough to take a break or and stuff. And so like, and also too, I recently started watching a lot of different YouTube videos and Facebook reels about autism, and it's helped me learn even more about myself, even as someone who's lived with autism my whole life and known about it. And also, your needs change throughout your life too, and so especially when you're when you end up in a place where you're struggling mental health wise. So making sure you adjust what you're doing to fit your needs is also important. And yeah, so and also I've also, if you desire to, and if you're old enough to, going on Reddit sometimes if you can handle it, like being on an autism subreddit or another autism group on another site does help help you learn about other people's experiences. So
Yeah, and I
that's
would
a lot of
say,
what I
mm-hmm. And
yeah. So and yeah, that's all I had to say for now.
it's all good. And something I would like to add, early intervention is key when it comes to like we know some certain signs of autism, but early intervention is the key. And each person is gonna be different. Like with my brother and I,
Mhm.
well, we're like in a way we're different. Like as far, for example, with communication, my brother's
Mhm.
communication is limited. Like he, when I'm around him, there are times he talks to himself, quoting words from movies and shows, and the thing with when one discovers a family member with autism, the key thing is to be patient and to be able to love them, the best that you can.
Oh
And
yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
yeah, each person is different with the way they behave, and of course when it comes to like interacting with other people, it there there are certain things that they'll do differently than other people do, and like for example, the social cues, like when when someone with autism is talking with someone and then someone gives them a social cue, it's hard for the person with autism to recognize it, and in a way they it takes them time to process what's being said to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have additional hearing. Me, in my personal experience, I've especially since I have additional hearing loss from stuff other than autism, like I sometimes have to have something repeated 2 or 3 times and stuff. And but yeah, so and supporting, like just being supportive of just being supportive of your family member, um and being patient is very key.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the next question is from Solwiz Puyo. His question is this: what are some tips you can provide to someone on the spectrum to help them cope with the world? What are some techniques that they can use to help them calm down if they're getting too stimulated or stressed out?
Oh yeah, that is a great question, Sullivan. Yep, and hello, Catherine. Anyway, so so for me personally, I struggle with noise, and so I've now as an adult, I was able to buy earplugs that I carry around with me in my purse. That's really helped. Um, and then like I've also found that like mentally preparing myself for what I'm going to do and sticking to a relatively close schedule, or at least being able to plan out stuff, is beneficial. And I personally use Google Calendar, and for my school homework I use this app called My Calendar app. It's on iPhone, Android, and there's a web browser version which is superior to um I mean, finding tools that work for you and what you need. Me, I also use I've also used a lot of different fidget tools, and I mean, sometimes it's just trial and error to see what works for you. But and then to like making sure um like for me, I also tend to like have music download on my cell phone. So if like, and always have headphones. So if I need to just take a break, I can pop in my headphones and listen to calming music or whatever, and play on my phone. Or I mean, um, I also pace a lot, so um, which people without autism or another neurological condition too, but like, I mean, yeah, so, and then also too, my mom was able to get me a winged pad last Christmas, and that has really helped with some of my sensory issues because at night my nerves have been getting more stimulated, and like to where where I have to lay on myself, like lay on my like front area to soothe myself. So like having the weighted pad helps because that's been soothing. And yeah, I mean, anyone who needs help, I do encourage you to maybe look up some stuff and use your thinking to to really think about like what might be able to help and stuff. And if you're a kid, make sure your parents are involved too, if possible. And like, yeah, my current earplugs are loops, which I got the nicer ones for they're like $60, but it helped me a lot to have that extra set of earplugs. Because I used to just use wired earbuds, and having the wires sticking out is not helpful. And yeah,
Yeah, I would say uh, I know people with autism, they have a routine that in a way they like to follow, and if something happens to the routine, it kind of messes them up a bit. Now, I would say, you know, music is definitely one way to help relieve the stress. Yeah, especially the soft music. Yeah, sure, like the loud music, but the softer music is much better because it reminds me of a particular story when King Saul was troubled and David would play his harp for King Saul. The the music that's really soft, it really like it helps soothe one's mind and soul.
yeah, noise canceling headphones. Yeah, I mean, I personally don't have. Well, I technically have noise canceling earbuds, but I barely use them right now. But yeah, so yeah, and I mean, sticking to your routine and building on those routines is a good thing. I mean, I'm currently in the process of transitioning back into a more stable routine after after a lot of turmoil and stuff.
Mm,
And
and
also my work schedule changed a good amount too recently, so that hasn't helped anything.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then also I transitioned from college to work, and now I'm back trying to go back to college. So that's, yeah, taking things one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Something important for us to remember. It's like we when it comes to life, just have to take things one day at a time. But if we try to do so much, for the next, for the future, or even worry about the past, it would stress us out and uh, affect us emotionally and mentally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And just also too, especially if you're an adult or a teenager, if if you're in the spot where you might need therapy of some sort, and you're able to access it, that has also really helped me. And hopefully, you're able to find a good therapist that can help you if you're able to and have the need to, or yeah, talk to. And if you're a kid, talk to your parents and other adults in your life too. Yeah. So,
Alright, so the next question comes from Horse Gamer. I think this one I'll start on this one. What is
oh, yep.
yeah, what is autism like? So with autism, there like for me, for example, my demeanor is different from others. I remember, I remember when when my parents got into like an argument and whatnot. I would hide, go away and hide inside my bedroom, and it's kind of like a little, I guess like a little, um, I forgot what you call it, but there's another scenario where when I was younger, I remember certain kids in the school I used to attend to years ago. They like they would like in a way tease or pick on me, and I honestly thought that they were they were just being funny or whatnot. I did not think they were being mean to me. It's like a defense mechanism for me. And communication, like I mentioned earlier, it's somewhat limited depending on the functioning. Myself with high functioning, I can communicate, but there are certain things that I don't fully comprehend, and it'll take me time to like process some things. I even think of like when someone says something figuratively, I would at times uh, think of it literally, and that's a few examples from my personal experience on what it's like to have autism. What about you, Lily?
Um, well, as a person who also has higher functioning autism, I relate to a lot of what you said. And yeah, so like my um I've always had trouble with like especially maintaining longer friendships with people. I mean, I always and I've me personally, I've always tended to hang out with people who are also neurodivergent, not necessarily all autistic, but like and stuff. And like I mean, also sometimes autistic people hyperfixate on stuff, and sometimes the hyperfixations can lead to the anxiety and stuff, but and other negative emotions you don't necessarily want. And then also in the past few years, I've had to relearn how to kind of take care of myself because my needs were changing, and so like um adapting to that and figuring out what um what I need to do was something. And then also yeah, I've always, I mean, in college I've struggled to like stay focused on my homework and stuff. And yeah, no, And another thing is that also a lot of people with autism might also have ADHD, and that might be a possibility for me. So I'm also learning about that and figuring out like what works for me and stuff. And so hopefully by the time I'm back to college full time, I can stay in college full time and stuff. And yeah, and yeah, I've had to figure out like what. Yeah, so I've had to. I mean, it's trial and error, and sometimes you have bad days, other days are good, and I mean, having a meltdown's not fun, but learning to at least manage it when you're around other people and waiting until you're able to fully unmask and like feel your emotions without fearing judgment and stuff is something I've also had to learn, especially since I started working and stuff. And, well, and being in the classroom too, but like, especially with working and stuff. And I mean, a lot of that's taken me a few years now, so like, yeah.
Now for the next questions, it's from Random Prince Mush Lover. Um, so the question is this: what usually happens to kids with autism? Do their emotions usually differ? Does their behavior change?
Oh yeah. Um. Okay, so I'm gonna speak from a more perspective, like I like going into public school. I mean, if things are able to be identified at a early-ish age, like between like 2 and like 7 or whatever, hopefully whatever school your kid ends up at, they're able to at least help a little bit with stuff, ideally, and figure out what your kid needs to succeed in school. And um, I did my parents didn't know anything about autism, but the school was able to identify my autism. So then I was able to go to resource rooms, and I ended up doing occupational therapy and some speech therapy and stuff. And I was put on a individual education plan, like I said earlier, and stuff. I mean, I was in a pretty ideal situation. But there are also many people that go undiagnosed till they're adults, or there's people that don't know they have autism and stuff, and because their parents never told them. And I mean, sometimes if you're lower functioning, you end up in a resource room where you're in the resource room all day. That's called self-contained, or you might end up having to go to a specialized school, or there are times where parents pull their special needs children from school to homeschool them because the public school just isn't working after multiple things are tried and stuff. And oh, and there's also times where parents have to have someone help them advocate for their children to get what they need in their education to be able to at least pass the curriculum and stuff. And it can be, I mean, parents go through a lot with their kids, and the kids go through a lot. And I mean, um, there's times where kids with special needs are bullied and stuff, and by their peers, and well, and there's all, I mean, I think I wasn't really bullied that much. Like, I definitely didn't have the most friends, but I wasn't like bullied, luckily, but very much between school and daycare. But I mean, and also too, some autistic people just feel their emotions way more and stuff, and so like yeah, their emotions could be like higher than a neurotypical person, or like lower even sometimes. And like I mean, everyone's different, and so I mean that so it just really depends. Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely agree, Brian, that anxiety can make you feel more autistic sometimes
Hmm.
and stuff, and because when you're anxious, you tend to get more. You can it can lead to being overstimulated more. Absolutely. So.
Yeah, and I have a couple of examples as far as behaviors. One example is my brother. He usually does this. He when he's around when there are a lot of people, he tends to distance himself to where he's sitting at a table by himself, and that's that's usually a sign for autism. And there are times I do this where when when there's someone that uh, someone who I have not met before, and they seem to have like an uncomfortable demeanor to me. It it's harder for me to make eye contact with that person than it is with someone that's more chill and relaxed.
Yeah. In the past, I've distanced myself, especially when I know that I'm going to become more overwhelmed and stuff, and or like I'm just in a situation where I don't feel as comfortable talking to people, and so like um oh, I didn't see Chase's question on the list, so I didn't know. But
I know it is.
yeah.
It's on a different the post, but
Oh, cool.
yeah, we
Oh, okay, cool.
haven't gotten to it
No,
yet,
you're good.
but we'll get to it.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely.
I remember you know in school that well, in public school for sure, that I had there are times where I needed extra time to work on quizzes or tests, and like there's certain things at that time I did not fully understand, and of course when I'm taking a time test, it's in a way I feel rushed, trying to complete everything while I wanted to do my best and answer the questions correctly and get a good grades.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Jack. I'm in a similar boat, and I'm still using extended time on my test, which I don't. Once I got to about high school, I didn't use that quite as much for having it just relieve a lot of stress. And also, my the between the community college and the school I'm about to attend in the fall, um, they have they have like a test. My community college had a testing room I could go to if I wanted to, and my and the 4 year school I'm about to transfer to has individual rooms. So you have to book them in advance, but it's very helpful,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
All right,
Yeah.
so next question comes from Astral Ball 35. Now, the second question I pretty much covered at the beginning with the disclaimer that
Hmm.
autism is not a disease or contagious. It's something that's neurological, with the nervous system, right, Lily?
Oh yes, absolutely.
So this question that he has, how do you deal with people on the spectrum?
Um, I mean, so with other people, my best friend is also autistic, so I mean, dealing with other people on the spectrum is sometimes hard because sometimes someone has like a sim that annoys another autistic person, so then I was learning to be a teacher, so I did practicum, and sometimes I hum out of habit. And I was in a special needs classroom, and this one boy had to ask me to stop humming because it was annoying to him and stuff. I felt really bad, but it was just a habit at that point in my life, and still kind of is sometimes. But like it goes. But I use that example to show that like autistic people can annoy other special needs people, and I don't know if this particular person was autistic or not, but like I mean, you get yeah, and then like um yeah, my um like
Yep.
and then I've had a work box that has that was that had ADHD, and like um sometimes I take, like Jack says, sometimes autistic people take stuff too literally, and so that's been or like sometimes sometimes I've had to ask clarifying questions for like certain directions from various people because I need to understand like more specific instructions on how to do a certain thing. And sometimes it just takes me longer to learn stuff too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So even though like I was always in the higher level classes, like I still needed to do extra work to make sure I did well. So, in whatever I was doing. So.
Right now, no matter what level of autism, whether it's high or low on the spectrum, the as I mentioned earlier, the key thing is to be patient. And I know there are times, someone like at times it's hard to communicate with someone, and at other times they in a way they could annoy you in certain ways, but patience is a virtue, as they say. And when it comes to my brother and I, he and I are really really close, and there are times. Well, this is kind of off topic, but there are times when he and I would mess with each other. Of course,
Mhm.
when my brother, for example, he like in a way when my parents ask him to do something, he first says okay, and then he starts to go in a little protest kind of a deal, and there are times that just it drives me crazy at times when he acts up like that.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, I've just found that a lot of people do that regardless of needs or not. But like, yeah, that makes sense. So it can get annoying sometimes. Yeah. So,
Yeah, and another thing with my brother, it's at one side it's a habit, and on the other side it's I don't know if it's part of his I don't know if it's the coping part, but he usually like he loves snuggling on our mom, especially on her shoulder. It's a sensory thing that that he likes to feel he likes to love
Um,
all over mom, and just rub her shoulder, touch her, on the shoulder.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I like hugs, I mean, when I was younger, my parents needed to teach me, well, family and other people like needed to teach me when it was appropriate to do stuff and whatnot, and like, yeah, so like, um,
All right,
yeah,
so
so
mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's all good.
No, so just like also, I mean, there's things you need to learn to function and stuff, and can be very important and stuff, especially if you're on the higher end of the spectrum. And like there's just a lot of different social things you kind of need to know and stuff. And like, I mean, me personally, I kind of just have like a mental list of rules for any given place I'm at, and I've been between like multiple churches throughout my life, so like I have kind of a rule set for each church, like of like different things that you can and can't do and whatnot. Given given how different those churches are, and like there's some for school, some for like being at home and being like at the store, and like um I mean just developing those that type of like awareness and systems. I mean that takes a lot of time, but I encourage everyone to do it if they desire to and are able to and stuff. And yeah.
Now, the next question comes from Swoo. The question is this: how can you support someone who has autism?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, we kind of went over some of it, but I mean, especially if they're like someone really close to you, like knowing like what things might lead them to become more stressed or like more overwhelmed, and making sure and making I mean and making sure some of that's removed if possible, and like, and then also just being patient with them, like we've already said, is is key. And I mean, when um, I mean, like taking and sometimes just listening to them, especially if they get into a rant about what they're hyper fixated on at the time, or like about their special interests and whatever they're interested in, and just listening to them for a period of time is helpful. And and then also just uh,
And when it comes
yeah,
to
we've covered a lot of it already, so
yeah, pretty
can't
much.
really
And
think of any more to add.
now, I think I would like to add, everybody, including a person with autism, needs a friend, and being a friend to someone with autism can go a long way. And in a way, treating them kindly and with love and respect, and to be able to help them out whenever possible.
Yeah, I mean that just goes for everyone in general. But yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so the next question comes from Spyro Fan, quoting the post. I have autism, and I'm so thankful to have friends like you guys and Jack as well. And how can we spread the love and positivity and Zen to all of our autistic friends?
Yeah, I mean we've covered a lot of that already tonight in the video, but in the stream. But I mean, um,
And like we're doing right now, in fact, what we did the past couple of years, spreading the awareness for autism, and also the, in a way, applying the acceptance of people with autism.
oh yeah, absolutely, and yeah, definitely, and I mean, and also too, something I want to add is like if you can help advocate for someone with autism or any special needs if they need help or whatever, and they can't effectively advocate for themselves, helping them to advocate. Especially as a parent, if you have a child with some special needs, just I mean, I've talked about a lot of that already, but
Yeah. Now,
yeah, so just
mhm.
I mean, learning to advocate for yourself is important too, but like just in general, but like I mean, but there's just people that aren't going to ever be able to advocate for themselves, especially if they are lower on the spectrum. So like, yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, that is a good point right there. When it comes to being an advocate for someone on the lower spectrum, like for example, myself being an advocate for my brother, and and an example I would use, if my brother says something that offended someone so bad that they're about to hurt him, I would step in and try to explain, first of all, my brother's condition, and then just do the best I can to explain what he's trying to say.
oh yeah, no, that yeah, that makes sense. And then there are times, especially recently, where like my sisters like made sure that I didn't embarrass myself, like in social situations, especially where I need to be more quiet or I ramble through a bit too long. And I mean, since these young, like a decently big age gap, like I get annoyed sometimes with it, but like it helps sometimes too. And I
Hmm.
love so like yeah, and then um,
Now we do have. I know there are certain organizations that in a way help families with members that has autism. The Depending on what their like what their mission is, what they stand for, and what kind of work they do, it's really important to do research on each organization before considering the financially supporting that organization to help people with autism.
yes, definitely. And also that just goes for any charity, especially as the number of scams are rising. Like that's just general blanket statement, but like um And also too, I'm just gonna add that like I don't know who's all gonna watch this, but if you're like in high school or like early college, um, I have found that there are scholarships for people with autism or other or other special needs, especially if you have something on top of your autism. And like, I encourage you to seek those out. A lot of them are more limited to like specific majors or places, but well, yeah. And then also, I mean, this is mostly U.S. advice, so like, seek, yeah, just seeking out those types of things for college can be important and stuff. And yeah,
All right, so here's a question from Chase. His question is, I think we might have already covered this, but what do you use or do to calm down with situations you deal with? I know for me,
yeah,
one of the ways, like for example, at work, when I get stressed, I I would just step aside, take a break, uh, regather myself, drink some water, and then once I'm ready, I would go back and continue work. That would be one example that I can give right there.
yeah. And then like sometimes just taking a few minutes to gain your back your composure for enough time to like wait out the situation can be helpful. And I mean there are times where you just need to leave, like just permanently remove yourself from that situation. But other times, especially if you like have to be somewhere, like at work or school, taking those few minutes, calming down and enough to go back into that for timing, like um yeah. I mean that's helpful. And then I mean there will be days where you do need to just leave a situation or cancel your plans or whatever you have to do to take care of yourself. And I mean, as long as that's not happening to the point where you're not functioning, then then I mean, taking care, like, yeah, it's. I mean, making sure you take care of yourself is just one of the things you need to do. And it's. I mean, people with special needs, it will take longer to do certain things to take care of yourself or to like do certain tasks. But I mean, yeah, making sure you seek help when you need as well is very important.
hmm And there are people out there who would um, who would be happy to help you the best that they can. And and it is true that your health is really important, and you don't want your body to not only to become overwhelmed, but to feel worse and or even worse. But anyway, um, it's definitely important to be able to take care of yourself. And there are other ways, there are other ways to be able to calm down. Like I know when my mind is overwhelmed or stressed a bit, when I'm at home, I like to find something to do that I really enjoy, like playing video games. I even like to I would like to hang out with other people, whether it be friends from the past, like from school, from work, even my fiance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hanging out with people who care about you and I mean, preferably in person, but I mean, hanging out with people online too can really help, especially if you can't get out in person. Um, and also, yeah, playing video games has helped. As long as it doesn't become, with anything, as long as it doesn't become unhealthy and you do it in moderation, it's okay.
That's true. Yeah.
And just, yeah, so like, oh yeah, definitely hang out with the right people
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to end up in a bad situation either.
Yeah, and you also don't want to be
Um,
around people that would have a negative influence on you. It's like I think it's a
yeah,
proverb or something like that, but something about one rotten apple can spoil the broth, or like can
uh-huh,
one person can change a lot of people with the negativity.
yeah, absolutely.
And another one also, if you have any pets, whether it be a dog, a cat, or some other animal pet that you might have, that could be another way to be able to calm down and de-stress. You know, that time with your pet can really that it can really help you in a way. And another thing I need to add here, laughter. Like something that's clean, appropriate, and funny that would make you laugh. You know, it's like the proverb says, laughter is like medicine. It's the best kind of medicine you can have.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, yeah, I have a cat and she's helped me through a lot, especially, yeah, especially when I wasn't seeking as much help as I should have and stuff. And so, yeah.
Hmm. All right. Are there any more questions in the live chat? Like something that we might not have already covered. Um, I know. I think Chase wanted me to clarify something, but I'm not sure exactly what though.
Yep. And we got to all those questions that were on post and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that was all the questions that were posted. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, um, I encourage you to do if the you feel compelled to do further research and I'm glad that I've done my own research on autism throughout my years in middle and high school and stuff and now even more research to and stuff and like um yeah and just
Mm-hmm.
yeah and I mean there's lots of different things that I've even just learned the past few years that have been able to help me and stuff and um I mean everyone's in a different situation and I mean a lot of autistic people are not always in the best employment state or like, as adults but like I mean yeah
Mm-hmm. All right. So.
that's all I
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
oh that's all I have to say for now.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Um, Chase does have another question. I will make this the last question for the Q&A. So
Cool.
what he wants to know is can you control your blinking? Like I'm assuming there are certain people that like when they blink it seems uncontrollable if I'm understanding the question correctly. Um, I don't know I don't know if this refers to autism, but it's hard at times to control the blinking. Like the each person needs in a way to blink, to keep the stuff out of their eyes.
Oh yeah, blinking's just normal part of humans because we need to. Yeah, I mean there are um I mean with eye contact there are a lot of people that struggle with it. I'm not one of those people, especially since I have hearing issues. But I mean there are a lot of autistic people who do struggle with eye contact and stuff, and like, I mean that could be part of it. And, oh, also kind of related to, not really related to that, but also a lot of autistic people have like motor skill issues, especially with their more fine motor skills, and like if you're like, depends on kind of where you are on the spectrum and just what your needs are, physical needs are and stuff, and like um so I mean that also just is something you have to take into account in your life, and like yeah, luckily for me it hasn't been too bad, but I mean there are times where like I struggle to just do certain things and stuff because of my motor skill limitations.
Hmm.
Uh, it can become very apparent when I'm doing a lot of crafts because a lot of those crafts are more particular, and so yeah, and then yeah, I mean also too another thing is some autistic people struggle with eating. Well, a lot of autistic people struggle with eating, especially with different textures and stuff.
Hmm.
So and I've struggled to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables because of textures. And
Yeah.
well, and then I backslid quite a bit due to other issues, and so I've had to to readjust myself to different things, to different foods because of yeah, and then I mean also your needs also fluctuate with how you're feeling and stuff too, so that's something you take into account too. So yeah.
Alrighty. I appreciate you all for joining tonight. I hope you learned something new about autism, and I also want to thank those who posted the questions in my post. And I especially want to thank Lily for joining tonight. I
Yeah,
it's
I'm
a
glad I could join. Thank you for inviting me on, and thank you guys for all your questions. Oh, Trace asked which fruit or vegetables. For me personally, it's it's a lot of them.
Yeah, tomatoes is one of them for me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Well,
tomato.
raw
Well,
tomatoes, to be exact.
also too. Oh, yeah. We're raw. It depends on whether they're raw or cooked, mostly too, and how they're cooked can also affect the texture of a vegetable. Yeah. I seem to do good with like apples and like berries. Like as long as the berries like are like berries seem to be fine for me. For some reason, frozen fruits is very hard for me. Bananas are a mix. Um, like it, olives are good for me, and lettuce has been starting to become higher on my list of good, and like yeah, so like, and also broccoli for me isn't always the best, and yeah, so most of them for me have been can be hit or miss just given on the day and stuff. Oh, and Yeah, so what about you, Jack?
I know. Let's see. Raw tomatoes. I'm not crazy about the um squash. I'm not crazy about the squash, but the zucchini I really like. Grapefruit. I don't
Mm,
like at all.
yeah, I mean, there's still times where you just don't like a food you to taste either. So, like, yeah, I don't really like watermelon.
Yeah, same.
And I get, oh, really?
Yeah,
A
not.
lot of people are like, why don't you like watermelon? So,
Yeah, I remember
but yeah,
the last watermelon that I tried, that I was back in kindergarten. It tasted sour to me.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, yeah.
All right,
Well, thank
guys.
you everyone for coming, and thank you, Jack, for inviting me on tonight. And especially with not as much plan. Was I mean, we had some planning, but yeah, and
Appreciate
so
you. I appreciate you joining tonight, and thank you so
yeah,
much for sharing your insight on autism.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad I could hear yours too, Jack, and some other people's as well as they talk in the chat. And so yeah, and then you're streaming tour tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Yoshi Kart
No,
Party. That's Mario Kart Tour multiplayer where it's Yoshi themed. Each player, if possible, race only with Yoshi.
sounds great. So I'll have to work though, so I probably won't make it, but hope everyone else enjoys it that does make it. So alrighty, yep.
Yeah,
Have a good night,
absolutely.
everyone.
Thank you so much for watching. Catch you next time. Bye.
Yep. Bye, guys.